Hello guys, welcome to my channel. I am Shane Desai, and in today's video we are going to discuss about T.S. Eliot. Now T.S. Eliot is a very famous personality in English literature. He was a modern poet and a well-known critic. So on the right hand side you can see the picture of T.S. Eliot. This guy standing right here is T.S. Eliot. So this is the timeline of T.S. Eliot. The first point, T.S. Eliot in full, Thomas Stearns Eliot OM. Now this is the full name or the full form of T.S. Eliot, Thomas Stearns Eliot. Now at the end of the sentence you can see a word OM. Now OM is the short form of Order of Merits. Order of Merit is a medal which was been awarded to the man of distinction or the people who have contributed a lot in the field of armed forces, military, science and literature, art and so on. So definitely T.S. Eliot has contributed a lot in the field of English literature and poetry. So he was been awarded this medal, Order of Merits. He was born on 26 September 1888 in St. Louis, Missouri, USA. So this is his birth date. He was born on 26 September 1888 and he was born in USA, United States of America. So basically he was an American, but he died on 4th January 1965 in London, England. So later on in his life he moved to England where he officially took the citizenship of England and he died in London in 1965. He was a modernistic poet, critic, dramatist, journalist and editor. So this is about his occupation. As we know, he was a modern poet, a well-known critic. He was also a dramatist. He was also a journalist and editor. Not only this, but he also tried his hands in writing prose and social essays. T.S. Eliot wrote a couple of essays and also tried his hands or tried writing prose, but he is mostly famous for his poems and as a well-known critic. He was also a teacher and an employee of a bank. So T.S. Eliot also served as a teacher, as a school teacher, and he also worked for a bank. Now, the bank in which he was working, the name of that bank is Lloyd Bank, the Lloyd Bank. So you could note it down. This is a bit extra information. So going forward, Eliot was born in a well-reputed upper-class family. His mother was a writer and a teacher. His father was a businessman. So this is about the social background of T.S. Eliot, the family background of Eliot. He was born in a well-reputed rich family. His mother was by occupation a teacher and a writer. So we can see that T.S. Eliot also continued the legacy of his mother and further on became a writer and teacher as his mother. His father was a businessman, so basically his father was a businessman and a rich person. So by this statement, at some extent we can say that T.S. Eliot belonged to a well-reputed upper class rich family. Eliot began writing at the age of 14, and by the time he immensely influenced and inspired the other poets and writers of our age. So this is about the literary career of T.S. Eliot. We can see that he started writing at the early age of 14. By the time at the age of 14 he used to write poems which was being published into his school magazines, and then later on he continued writing and contributing in the field of literature. And even today we can see that the modern poets, the writers of 20th century are very much inspired and influenced by T.S. Eliot. As a poet, Eliot followed his belief that poetry should aim at representation of the complexity of modern civilization. Now yes, being a poet, T.S. Eliot believed that the purpose of poetry or literature is to portray or to show the problems, the issues of the modern civilization or the modern society. And as we know that literature is the reflection of society, so basically T.S. Eliot was also trying to say that by poetry or through literature we should portray the issues of the modern society, right? The last point in this slide, Eliot is also known as the Renaissance man of 20th century. So this was the title given to T.S. Eliot. He was known as the Renaissance man of 20th century. Moving forward, Eliot was been awarded with the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1948. So this is the timeline. In the year 1948 he was been awarded with Nobel Prize, and he got Nobel Prize for his famous work The Wasteland. And in 1900 he won a gold medal for a Latin. So this is another achievement of T.S. Eliot, or this is another award of T.S. Eliot. And here we can see on the left hand side the letter which you can see is the invitation letter which was been sent to T.S. Eliot. So this is the invitation letter where you can read: the Swedish Academy has awarded to you this year Nobel Prize in Literature and invites you to the Nobel festivity of 10th December, right? This is the invitation letter which called T.S. Eliot into receiving his Nobel Prize. But the strange thing in this invitation letter is that in the whole letter there is no name mentioned of T.S. Eliot, right? But on the right hand side, this paper cutting shows that on this year in 1948 he was been awarded with the Nobel Prize. So this proves that this letter is authenticate and it was been sent to T.S. Eliot. And I found this both pictures online. You could go online surfing on it and you will easily find these pictures and you could do more research on it. So moving forward to next slide. Yes, Eliot used to describe himself in one line by saying, "I am a classicist in literature, a Roman Catholic in religion, and a great royalist in politics." So this, by this line or by this sentence, T.S. Eliot used to describe himself. Now, in terms of literature, he was always in the classical literature. He was very much interested in the literature of Renaissance period, and for that reason we have seen earlier that he was also known as the Renaissance man of 20th century. So when literature was the scenario, when literature was the topic, he was always on the side of the classical literature, and he was also in the side of a great royalist as far as politics was concerned, and by religion he was a Roman Catholic. Now there is a religious controversy going regarding T.S. Eliot, that T.S. Eliot initially was an Anglican Christian, but due to the influence of his nurse in his childhood, he converted himself as a Roman Catholic Christian. So there is a big religious controversy. We cannot discuss this in this topic, but yes, he was initially an Anglican Christian and later on he converted himself into Roman Catholic Christian. So see, you can see the last 3 points. In terms of literature, he was on the side of classical literature, as I told. In terms of religion, he was a Roman Catholic. In terms of politics, he was on the side of royal people, the royal class of England, right? So this is about T.S. Eliot's marriage life. So Eliot was not happy with his first marriage and his first wife. So basically the first marriage of T.S. Eliot was not successful. His first wife, Vivian Haywood, was suffering from anxiety, depression and mental illness. Later on she was sent to mental asylum. So this is about his first wife. The name of his first wife is Vivian Haywood. So his first wife was suffering from anxiety, depression and some mental illness or mental issues, and for that reason she was also been sent to mental asylum. And in the mental asylum itself, his first wife Vivian Haywood died. So due to this reason, due to certain other reasons, T.S. Eliot was not happy with his first marriage. But after the death of his first wife, he married once again to his own secretary Valerie. So after his first wife Vivian Haywood was died or dead, T.S. Eliot married to his own secretary named Valerie. And this is a fact. The last point is another fact. The family of Eliot is also known as the Boston Brahmins. Yes, this is the another title given to T.S. Eliot. Now at certain aspect, I believe why he is known as Boston Brahmins, because while he was in USA, or when he was a teacher, he used to teach Sanskrit language in foreign countries. So for this reason he is known as the Boston Brahmin, right? This is the fact about T.S. Eliot. Some amazing fact. Eliot throughout his life suffered from various physical illness: hernia, nervous breakdown and emphysema. Yes, so Eliot throughout his life, you will find that has suffered from various multiple disease. When he was in his childhood, he was suffering from hernia, a disease called hernia. After the death of his first wife Vivian Haywood, he was been suffering from nervous breakdown, and in his later life T.S. Eliot was suffering from emphysema, and emphysema is the same disease which took the life of T.S. Eliot. So he is today famous for his notable work The Wasteland. So T.S. Eliot is today mostly famous for his work The Wasteland, and due to this work he is also been awarded with the Nobel Prize. which is also known as the Mona Lisa of English literature. Yes, the wasteland is also known as the Mona Lisa of English literature. So basically this statement is trying to say that this work, the wasteland, is the most famous work, most celebrated work of T.S. Eliot. He was also the director of world's most famous publishing house, Faber and Faber. Yes, T.S. Eliot was also a director of world's topmost publishing house, Faber and Faber, and this publishing house has published some of the famous works of the world famous works such as The Lord of the Flies of these are the notable works of T.S. Eliot, right? Notable poems. The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock, which is basically considered his first successful or first famous work, which was published in 1917. Second, The Wasteland, which was published in 1922. The Hollow Man, published in 1925. The Journey of the Magi in 1927, and the Ash Wednesday, which was published in 1930. So these are some of his notable poems. These are his notable plays. Now when I say plays, then these are the verse plays, right? Verse plays of T.S. Eliot, and these are the four top most famous plays of T.S. Eliot: Murder in Cathedral, of course, The Family Reunion, The Cocktail Party, The Confidential Clerk. So these are his notable or famous plays. So yes, this was all about the life of T.S. Eliot. Thank you for watching my video. Stay safe, stay happy. Thank you.